And I won more premierships alone than the other 19 managers together. 3 for me and 2 for them. Respect.
Please don't call me arrogant because what I'm saying is true. I think I'm a special one.
You cannot put pressure on me, no chance.
If I speak, I am in big trouble.
First foreign manager to win this championship in his first full season, Jose Mourinho. He is the special one. He told us he would do it.
And Jose Mourinho's moment has come again. A special success for the special one.
En esta sala, él es el puto jefe, el puto amo. Solo recuerdo que hemos estado juntos 4 años. Él me conoce y yo le conozco.
This is football heritage.
I arrive here with my ego big. Now it's even higher.
The Special One needs no introduction, as his stellar career and highly controversial behavior precedes him. But how did he come to earn the title of football's biggest villain? Many don't know this, but long before Jose Mourinho was born, his father was already laying the foundation for his son's legendary career. Felix Mourinho played as a goalie for 19 seasons in Portugal's Primeira Liga for Vitória de Setúbal and then Belenenses. He even earned an international cap, underlining his impressive ability on the field. He retired at 36, almost completing 300 games as a pro. Though a goalkeeper, he showed an adept knowledge of the game and had already assumed a coaching role at the latter stages of his spell at Belenenses. He eventually left Belenenses to coach First Division side Amora and later Rio Ave. Jose joined his father at Rio Ave as a player. He was rarely selected, largely due to his inferior skills on the field. Jose quickly learned about the harsh realities of football when his father was sacked on Christmas Day of 1984. You could say that this was the start of Jose's villain arc, but there was more to come before Jose would turn full-on villain mode. Mourinho realized there was nothing for him on the pitch. He didn't have the pace, power, or explosiveness to make it in professional football, so he retired at the tender age of 24. But he couldn't stay away from the game. After only spending 1 day in business school, he set his sights on the football pitch again, but this time he was going to make his impact off the pitch. He got a degree in sports science at the Technical University of Lisbon and worked as a sports teacher for a while. Mourinho sought to redefine the role of coach in football by mixing coaching theory with motivational and psychological techniques. He attended many coaching courses at various English football associations and took any kind of work he could to get around a football club. He worked as a scout, trainer, analyst, you name it, before he finally hit it big. Well, not exactly big. You see, Sir Bobby Robson got the job as Sporting Lisbon's manager, and the Englishman needed someone who understood the language of football and Portugal. And who stepped up? Mourinho. Although a job as a manager's interpreter is not exactly the most glamorous, Mourinho made the best of it. As an interpreter, he got the chance to work closely with a legendary manager, learning the ropes and the intricacies of coaching at one of the biggest teams in Portugal. It was a win-win situation, and before long Mourinho started showing his knack for football tactics and management. Bobby spent 2 years at Sporting before moving to Porto, where Mourinho followed him. At Porto, Mourinho grew more confident, and one day he showed some of his analysis to Bobby, and the manager couldn't be more impressed. Robson and Mourinho found resounding success in the 2 years they spent at Porto, and Barcelona were eager to bring Robson to Spain to replace the legendary Johan Cruyff. However, there was a problem. Barcelona considered Mourinho an excess and only wanted the English manager. Robson, who was desperate for a familiar face, insisted that Mourinho joined him at Barca, and the Catalans had no choice but to agree. At Camp Nou, Mourinho saw an increase in his responsibilities, eventually rising to the position of assistant manager. And with that came a huge bump in his salary, earning a whopping £300,000 annually while at Camp Nou. Around the same time Jose joined Barcelona, a young midfielder by the name of Pep Guardiola was entering the peak of his career as one of the world's best elite midfielders and a fan favorite. During Mourinho's time at Barcelona, there was little evidence that he and Pep would share one of the most bitter managerial rivalries in football, as the pair were very close, almost like brothers. After Barcelona won the 1997 Cup Winners' Cup final against PSG, Mourinho's first hug was with Guardiola. However, Pep played down its significance in 2011, saying, "We talked when we had doubts, exchanging ideas, but I don't see it as something that defined our relationship. He was Mr. Robson's assistant and I was a player." Robson and Mourinho couldn't replicate their undeniable success in Portugal, and Robson was sacked after only a year at the club. He was replaced by Louis van Gaal, and the Dutchman retained the services of Mourinho as he helped with opponent analysis and other assistant manager duties. In 2000, Mourinho finally got the chance he'd been waiting for. He was appointed as manager of Portuguese giants Benfica, replacing former manager Jupp Heynckes. At around the same time, Bobby Robson was hired as the new coach of Newcastle United, and he beckoned on his former assistant to join him once again to create football magic. He was so desperate to work with Mourinho again that he offered to step down after 2 years for Mourinho to become coach, but Jose refused. He had his dream job as a manager, and he wasn't about to let go of his new position anytime soon. Little did he know. One thing led to another, and Benfica found themselves with a new club president midway into the season. The new president had plans to restore ex-Benfica player Tony as head coach of the team, so fearing a sack, Mourinho quickly resigned after only 9 games with the team. Before his exit though, he managed to beat his former team and bitter rival Sporting 3-0. At this time, Mourinho had already started showing signs of his trademark arrogance and pride we've come to know and love. After leaving Benfica, he was out of a job for a year, but soon found a new home at União de Leiria, and sure enough, he found success there. After a shaky start, Mourinho went on an 8-game unbeaten run with the team, winning 6 and tying the rest. He was magnificent at União, helping the team compete with the likes of Benfica and Porto, even helping the team to a mid-season finish ahead of Porto. His success didn't go unnoticed, and by the start of 2002, he was given a chance at Porto. When he took the reins at Porto, the team was in a rut. They were in 5th place in the league, had been eliminated from the domestic cup, and were last place in their Champions League group. It seemed like Porto had set up Mourinho for failure, or they had high hopes for this unusual manager. Porto's gamble paid off, and Jose turned their season around, and eventually helped them secure a Champions League spot. They finished in 3rd place that season after a strong 15-game run, in which the team won 11 games. The arrogant Mourinho, drunk off a very successful season, promised to make Porto champions the following year, and boy did he. On the back of many years of experience watching and learning, Mourinho performed what can only be described as a miracle in his 2nd season at Porto. He quickly identified the key players in the team and brought on players to back a starting 11 that had the likes of Deco, Helder Postiga, Ricardo Carvalho and Costinha. He was going for everything. It was his one shot, and there was no messing about. He won Portugal's Primeira Liga, losing only twice in the season, and beating 2nd place Benfica by 11 points. If that wasn't enough, he beat his former team Leiria in the final of the Domestic Cup, and then he did it. Mourinho won the treble in only his 2nd season at Porto, beating Celtic in the final of the UEFA Europa League. But it wasn't enough. Mourinho wanted more. He considered himself the best manager in the world, and he had to prove it. The following season, he won the one-man Portuguese Super Cup, beating União de Leiria again. Then he breezed through the Primeira Liga, finishing the season with a perfect home record and a 27-game unbeaten run, securing the title 5 weeks before the end of the season. But a far greater prize awaited him, and he grabbed it when he beat Monaco 3-0 in the final of the UEFA Champions League, the most coveted trophy in all of Europe. To make it even more glorious, he beat the likes of Manchester United, Lyon and Deportivo on his way to Champions League immortality. While winning a final by 3 goals is incredible, his most iconic game of the campaign was against English giants Manchester United. It was in that game that Jose truly announced himself to the world. The party at Porto didn't last long, As Mourinho announced that the Champions League final was his last game at Porto, he was headed for something greater. What could top his performance at Porto? The world watched with feverish anticipation. Mourinho's win over Ferguson's United was a preview of his move to the Premier League managing Chelsea, and he announced an arrival in classic Mourinho style. He became the first ever Portuguese coach to grace the Premier League, and he came to do one thing: win. Before he came, Chelsea had gone 50 years without winning a First Division trophy, and the club's owner, Abramovich, was tired of the drought. He knew Jose for being arrogant, scandalous, and extravagant, but his thirst for a league title saw him bring the serial winner to London. Just like he did at Porto, Mourinho looked deep into the team and saw that the squad wasn't terrible. After all, Abramovich had allowed former manager Ranieri to go on a spending spree. However, he found that they lacked personality and character, and if Mourinho had plenty of anything, it was character. The villainous Mourinho released 9 players from the squad that season, and anybody that was left knew they had to be exceptional to remain on the team. He brought in the likes of Cech, Thiago, Drogba, and 2 players from his Porto days, Ricardo Carvalho and Paulo Ferreira. The season started, but who else would be his first opponent but Sir Alex Ferguson? It was hot right from the get-go, but he came out on top. 8 matches into the season and Chelsea were second, only 2 points away from the top. His method was simple: offense wins games, defense wins championships. His teams were known to shut out opponents, often winning by only a single goal. The saying stays true, as in only his first season at the club, Mourinho helped Chelsea grab the League Cup in a controversial final that saw the manager escorted from the touchline for shushing the Liverpool fans. The Liverpool fans would have their revenge though, as they knocked Chelsea out of the Champions League in the semi-finals due to a controversial goal, denying Mourinho the chance at back-to-back Champions League titles. He will, however, receive consolation in the form of the Premier League trophy, helping Chelsea grab the title that had eluded them for 50 years. Mourinho already made history in only his first year at the club, including the most points ever achieved in the Premier League and the fewest goals conceded. But as has come to be his nature, there was more to come, and just as in Porto, the fans only had to wait another year. The following season, Chelsea breezed past their opponents, winning the domestic league again, making it Mourinho's 4th league title in a row. After the presentation of his championship medal, Mourinho threw his medal and blazer into the crowd. He was awarded a second medal within minutes, which he also threw into the crowd, showing what the title and the fans meant to him. Things were looking great for Jose at Chelsea, as the team just couldn't stop winning. They won the domestic cup in Mourinho's 3rd season with the team, but there were speculations that Mourinho was to leave the club at the end of the season because of problems with its owners. While he denied the rumors, they affected the team as they looked like a shadow of themselves. Even with the uncertainty in the locker room, the team rallied to win the FA Cup against Manchester United at Wembley. Mourinho left Chelsea the following year a legend. After leaving Chelsea, Mourinho saw new grounds to ply his craft. There were rumors that Barca wanted him back at Camp Nou, and he anticipated the glorious return with excitement. However, things took a very sour turn. While the details still aren't clear, rumor has it that Johan Cruyff persuaded Barca executives to choose a young Pep Guardiola to lead the team over the arrogant Mourinho. He argued that Pep was a better fit for the Spanish giants, and Jose was tossed aside. This was the last straw. Mourinho was visibly hurt, and he took his tactics to Italy, swearing revenge. After being denied a managerial role at Barcelona, he travelled to Italy to revive an old Inter side that looked better in a retirement home than at the Giuseppe Meazza. However, he managed to win the Italian Super Cup and the league in his first season, but the fans wanted more. They'd seen their rivals prevail repeatedly in Europe, and they too wanted a taste of that peak European glory. To make things harder, the club's legends Adriano, Cruz, Figo and Crespo were all leaving, making any hopes of a Champions League trophy out of reach. Mourinho, however, had other ideas. In a gamble that shocked all of Europe, he signed the unlikely trio of Diego Milito, Samuel Eto'o and Wesley Sneijder. And would you believe that this side won everything? On the back of these players and a vengeful Mourinho, Inter beat Chelsea, CSKA Moscow, Barcelona, and eventually Bayern to secure the Champions League trophy. In that same season, he won every domestic competition in the Serie A, helping Inter to the treble. An incredible campaign. No one could deny that Mourinho was truly special, but once again, he was leaving a team he had meticulously crafted for even more glory. This time, he was going to Spain, but not to Barcelona. No, he was going to Spain to destroy Barcelona. He was going to join Real Madrid. In the summer of 2010, people around the world eagerly watched as Mourinho arrived at the famous Santiago Bernabeu. Fresh from a successful run with Inter, he was given the challenging task of bringing back the glory days to the capital club. Mourinho, known for his confidence, declared in his first press conference, "I'm not here to be second best, I'm here to win." This set the tone for a period marked by boldness and ambition. On the field, Real Madrid under Mourinho played a style of football that was both ruthless and effective, dominating opponents and winning trophies. But along with the victories came controversy. Mourinho's confrontational style, a mix of charm and toughness, attracted criticism. In press conferences, he often shifted the focus from his players to himself, with calculated and provocative remarks. The media loved to cover his every word, turning him into a headline maker. Amidst these successes and controversies, one rivalry stood out: El Clasico, the intense match against Barcelona. These clashes between Real and their rivals became more than just football. They were epic battles between Mourinho and Pep Guardiola. Mourinho lost his first El Clasico, shouldering a humiliating 5-0 loss at Camp Nou. Madrid director Florentino Perez called it the worst game in the club's history. From there, Mourinho jumped from one controversy to the next. First, he was fined over £33,000 for instructing Xabi Alonso and Ramos to receive tactical second yellow cards in their win against Ajax in the Champions League. Then he won the Copa del Rey final against Barcelona. A week later, both teams met again, but this time it was Barca who emerged victorious as they knocked the Galacticos out of the Champions League. After this defeat, Mourinho became even more bizarre. He talked Ozil into breaking up with his girlfriend, accusing her of sleeping with several players on different teams and the coaching staff. The controversies kept on coming, but so did the trophies. In 3 seasons at Real Madrid, he won La Liga, Copa del Rey, and the Spanish Cup. But Los Blancos had brought him to destroy Barcelona and win the Champions League, 2 tasks he'd failed to accomplish. So, it came as no surprise when he was finally sacked in 2013. But before his exit, he dropped a bomb that got his nemesis Pep so furious that he exploded in a press conference and eventually left the Spanish side. This exit marked the beginning of Barcelona's doom. In 2013, Jose made a highly anticipated return to Chelsea, marking his second stint. This move generated immense excitement among Chelsea fans, as they hoped Mourinho would bring the same success he'd achieved during his first spell from 2004 to 2007. He wasted no time in making his presence felt. He expressed his ambition to create a strong and competitive team, famously referring to himself as the happy one in his return press conference. His tenure saw Chelsea once again become a force in the Premier League, with Mourinho leading the team to a 3rd place finish in the 2013-2014 season. The following season, Chelsea enjoyed a remarkable campaign under Mourinho's guidance. The team secured the Premier League title in the 2014-2015 season, marking Mourinho's 3rd league title with the club. His tactical prowess, motivational skills, and ability to build a resilient team were evident during the successful period. However, despite the on-field success, tensions began to arise during the 2015-2016 season. A string of poor results and reported conflicts with key players and staff led to Mourinho's departure from Chelsea in December 2015. The special one had encountered a challenging phase in his second stint, and the parting of ways marked the end of an era for both Mourinho and Chelsea. After leaving Chelsea, Mourinho continued his managerial journey in the Premier League. He took charge of Manchester United in May 2016 and enjoyed success, winning the UEFA Europa League and the League Cup in the 2016-2017 season. Mourinho's time at Manchester United, however, faced challenges, and he parted ways with the club in December 2018. His next managerial role in the English top flight came with Tottenham Hotspur in November 2019. During his tenure at Tottenham, Mourinho guided the team to a League Cup final, but was relieved of his duties in April 2021, days before the showpiece event. Jose returned to Italy as the head coach of Roma in 2021. The season began positively, with Roma securing a place in the UEFA Europa Conference League. Mourinho's tactical prowess was evident as the team achieved victories, including a 3-1 triumph over Fiorentina in his return to Serie A. However, challenges arose, such as a 2-3 loss to Lazio in the derby and a humbling 1-6 defeat against FK Bodo Glimt in the Conference League. Despite the setbacks, Mourinho steered Roma to a historic success in the maiden edition of the Europa Conference League. On May 24, 2022, Roma defeated Feyenoord in the final, securing their first trophy in 11 years. This victory made Mourinho the third manager to win all three major European trophies, and the first to achieve the UEFA treble, which he made sure to get a tattoo of. The following season came with financial constraints for Roma due to UEFA regulations. Mourinho continued to shape the team with limited resources, bringing in players like Zeki Celik, Nemanja Matic, Miles Villar, Andrea Belotti and Paulo Dybala. The Serie A campaign had its ups and downs, with highlights including a win against Inter, but also a significant 0-4 defeat to Udinese. As the season progressed, Mourinho faced more difficulties and controversy both on and off the pitch. Disagreements reportedly arose between him and Roma's directors over the club's future and financial backing. The strained relationship became more apparent as rumors circulated about Mourinho's potential move to Paris Saint-Germain. Despite rising concerns and uncertainty, Roma reached the Europa League final, facing Sevilla on May 31, 2023. But Roma lost on penalties, marking Mourinho's first defeat in a European final. After the match, Mourinho expressed his desire to stay at Roma, but highlighted the need for better conditions. The third season brought further struggles for the club, with Mourinho's team near the relegation zone. Despite registering a historic 7-0 win against Empoli, a series of negative results, including losses in the Coppa Italia and Serie A, led to Mourinho's eventual departure on January 16, 2024. While Mourinho's career has been filled with much drama and controversy, he remains one of the greatest football managers of the 21st century and has been highly influential in shaping the modern game of football. What do you think of the special one? Villain or hero? Let us know in the comments.